So Anthropic released Claude Design, and I think that a lot of people are very quickly jumping to a reasonable conclusion that for companies like Canva and Figma, that's not good, that's pretty bearish. But my take is a little bit more nuanced in that this is just an example of how every single job category in knowledge work and creative work is under attack from AI. The general models basically are getting so much better so often that things that couldn't be done a few months ago now can. We're on this growth curve of capability. All these benchmarks that people talk about, the different models beating or saturating or demonstrating big increases in performance with every little version increase that they come out with, is one way that we've got to understand what sort of tasks and bundles of tasks these models can actually do. Your own direct experience in testing and experimenting with the models is another key data point, which the release of something like Claude Design gives you another opportunity. You can go in and play with it. I've spent some time testing it out today. My take is I'm not a designer, but something like this is ideal for me because the things that I would go to a designer for, there's literally no benefit to me personally to do that anymore. Even if I wanted to go spend tens of thousands of dollars on a designer to do a task, there's literally no point because personally, I don't value it that highly. I even let my Canva Pro subscription lapse because I just was not using it. A lot of people are going to be in this boat. They know that they need some level of design help, but they're not going to go out and pay for extra tools if what they need, that 80-20 rule, can be done inside one of the AI subscriptions they're paying for. So I already pay for the Anthropic Max subscription. So if I'm getting more and more value from it with Claude Design, with Claude Cowork, with Claude Code, with all of the other features that they're rolling out seemingly weekly, do I care as much about Anthropic's performance around API reliability or latency, or how you can very quickly use up all your limits if you're working on some more complex things? Not so much, because we have to think not just of what the few $100s a month we pay is, but the value we're getting back. We're effectively getting thousands of dollars of value every month. If we had to go out and hire a freelancer for all of the different tasks that we can get done in our Anthropic subscription every month, that's going to be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. This is called consumer surplus. It's a standard economics concept. What's happening at the moment is there's an awful lot of consumer surplus that users and heavy users of AI tools are getting. I try out and test pretty much anything I can because for me, my take since I quit my corporate job is the highest, best valued use of my time is making sure that I am always operating as close to the frontier of AI as I possibly can. That enables me to do better things for clients, better things for business partners, better things for myself. If you don't do that, in my belief, you're not going to know and you're not going to be operating from the right fact base when it comes time to making decisions about how best to deploy AI in your business, how to unblock AI transformations because of people issues or training issues, and all manner of things. This Claude Design release has a lot of people thinking that the end of other SaaS tools will be instantaneous. It won't be. A lot of people won't change their workflows for a while. A lot of people will have brand affinity or trust built up with other products. Other people will have anti-AI attitudes. So they think anything tainted with AI is slop and crap and it just can be ignored. This means there's kind of like a long tail of transition time. The early adopters are going to move more and more of their tasks to whatever they can that is close to the model provider. This is why this year you've seen a big rise in mobile and desktop app features. Both Codex and Claude Desktop are adding in more and more things. They're giving in more and more functionality. Yes, they've got some issues around the edges, but what we're experiencing is what category domination starts to look like. It's not about being the best AI for design. It's about being the best general AI tool, period. If you can take out coding, design, scientific research, engineering calculations, financial analysis, whatever, in aggregate, what is the actual addressable market you're going after? My argument or my claim is essentially they're going after all knowledge work, all creative work. It's going to take time. It's going to be a rough journey. But from building up and fine-tuning all of the different reinforcement learning and telemetry on all of these different tasks, the labs are operating from a position of such strength. They don't need to go out and do M&A and buy companies. They are only going to do that by choice if they want to acqui-hire a team for a specific thing that'll help them go faster. What's super interesting in this space in particular is with the rise of OpenClaw and personal agents, more people are going to be setting up their daily lives so they're managing these teams of agents, doing more and more tasks for them at a level where previously they would have needed to go off and hire a manager and have that manager hire teams of people to deliver certain outcomes. Again, revealed preference seems to be that AI slop and doom scrolling, all of this stuff, not as many people as even I thought care about taste or curation or any of these things. If you spend any time on the shorts or the reels or the TikTok and looking at what comes up, the amount of slop is kind of funny now. I find it funny at least. But why are people producing it? Because there's a demand for it. Because the people like it. Even if people with more refined taste hate it, that does not mean that they are the majority. In fact, what I'd go further to claim is that a lot of people who push back on AI and push back on things like this forget that taste and curation are essentially elite concepts that a lot of people do not subscribe to at all. If you've ever listened to voice recordings of how customers talk to call center reps, or you've seen transcripts of how people interact on chatbots or in emails back and forth with companies, the way the public speaks and the way, say, your colleagues speak, it's very different. It's certainly different from experiences at school or university or whatever. A lot of people just do not have the same tastes and preferences as you. And one thing which, again, to circle back to this whole Claude Design thing, a lot of people project their belief about taste onto others and then act a little bit snobby. What they don't realize is literally far fewer people care about any of that than you think. There are already startups that don't hire or even contemplate hiring designers. Freelancers in this space have lost enormous amounts of work. At the very top, and this is very much an exception, the best designers who are also technical and also have a lot of commercial acumen have suddenly unlocked a lot of leverage with the tools. So this is where the ones who lean into the tool and use their experience and skills and expertise to get even more value from what they're working on, these people will be fine. But the people pushing back and trying to stop the inevitable happening are unfortunately the ones who will fall by the wayside. So there's this real interesting scenario that's evolving in every facet of work that AI is starting to impact. The people who lean in the most will get the highest reward. The people who push back the most are highly likely to make it to the next layoff or redundancy list. That's the game that is being played now. And as leaders see more and more higher quality output from AI tools, in the back of their minds, their expectation for what work output looks like will rise accordingly. What does this mean? Well, already a lot of people seem to think that there are policy responses that can put AI back in the box. That ship has already sailed. What I would suggest, if all of this stuff makes you angry or frustrated, take a step back and act for a month as if this is inevitable. What skills do you need to learn? What tools do you need to experiment with? How can you best take what you are good at and what you have experience with and use AI tools to build a business or improve what you're doing at work by taking advantage of the tools? Because that unique combination of you plus AI is the only way you're going to have any ability to differentiate yourself. This is one reason why a lot of the arguments I see about banning AI in certain things, or different companies deciding, we will only use AI for this, but we won't use it for that, are kind of missing the wood from the trees. This is like a slow-moving glacier that every few months doesn't just move a few meters, it does sudden jumps where in 1 week it moves a kilometer. Before we know it, the valley will be full of ice. This is not slowing down, even though a lot of the underlying things sitting underneath Claude Design we've been able to do for a while. Where Anthropic have differentiated themselves here is by plugging it into their ecosystem. More people are going to look at what they pay Anthropic every month and then compare that to all the other subscription tools they pay for and think, wait a minute, why am I paying for all this extra stuff? How do I just get Claude to do it for me? And that is why you might see a lot of companies really struggling to get traction in this space over the next few years, because their answer is, well, Claude can do it, and whatever we build will be 6 months behind. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, if you like this sort of thing, and I'll see you in the next video.